What's up, ladies and gents? Social Nurse here. I was over there on TikTok and I saw content where South Africans are really upset and, just in despair because our President Donald Trump has put a 90-day ban on providing financial assistance to the World Health Organization, which would affect programs in various nations. We're going to talk about particularly South Africa because they can be very nasty when speaking about Americans, right? And how dumb we are. Their government is dumb for not being able to help their citizens with this medical issue. Now, over there on TikTok, they are discussing this big time, right? And I think that this is an opportunity for some of these countries. We're talking about South Africa particularly, to stop depending on the United States. And I do not believe that the United States is a country that so-called has its foot on South Africans, their nation's neck, right? Like how some of these other countries complain about the United States keeping their countries in a condition that's not stable. But with this said, let's proceed, right? Let's proceed because there's so many Americans that need health care. And this is sad that these people in South Africa will be without their HIV or AIDS medication. But it is what it is, and maybe some of their multi-millionaire property owners and business owners can help some of the less fortunate South Africans over there, right? Listen, DA, which is the Democratic Alliance political party that is part of South Africa's Government of National Unity, calls on the United States government to lift the 90-day suspension of PEPFAR-funded HIV AIDS treatment in South Africa and across the continent. The sudden halt of funding has resulted in the suspension of critical health support services by implementing agencies across the country on which millions of South Africans rely. I'll put the link to this article in the subscription box from da.org.za. Listen, let's talk a little bit more about this because these people have been totally relying on the United States, right? Listen to this. Listen. In 2024, South Africa benefited from $453 million in direct funding, with roughly $439 million allocated for 2025. This funding is critical to sustain life-saving treatment for South Africans, as well as support services from babies and orphans. It's such sad situation. We know that it is a sad situation, right? Almost $500 million, right? We understand this, right? But you can't demand anything. And quite frankly, there should be 90-day kind of travel bans from certain nations kind of to halt some of this possible infection transference, right? Because we've got issues already here in the United States, right? And this is the last thing that I'll read from this article, but I think it's really important because many of those South Africans talk a lot of trash about Americans, right? Check it out. According to statistics, South Africa in 24, the estimated national HIV prevalence rate was 12.7%, with around 8 million people living with the virus among adults age 15 to 49 years old. An estimated 16.7 of the population is HIV positive. Close to 6 million South Africans currently rely on antiretroviral therapy, ART, for survival. And America did a lot of research to contain HIV, right? The reverse transcriptase medications and all the different medications that were developed to interrupt this virus from continuing to replicate itself, right? People were taking like 7 pills, just full cocktails of medications, down to, like, for many people, 1 pill a day. 1 pill a day. So, I'm not saying this is a good thing, but shame on some of these African nations for being so dependent on the United States. Now, maybe the ban of financial help will be lifted in 90 days, right? But if a 90-day ban takes these people into this type of situation, you can only imagine if our President Donald Trump keeps the ban, what will happen to some of these people. It's awful. I am not celebrating, but it is a significant point, right? America first, according to our President Donald Trump, right? It is something to continue to watch, social nerds. I'll put the link to this article in the description box, and please go over to TikTok, right? Do your own research. Check out how upset some people are in some of these countries, right? Because we know that a lot of these countries will talk about America. Many of their citizens will talk about Black America. I saw a video where 2 girls had the nerve to be talking about the STD rate in Black America. I mean, some of these countries should drag themselves for depending on America. Social nerds.